With us now is Republican Senator Roger Marshall of Kansas, who has stepped away from a very busy day in the Senate to be with us. Senator, thank you for being here. Okay, so as I understand today's package, it's a partial reopening with sort of minibus spending packages for the next year. You don't think this is likely to succeed, but maybe it puts the pressure on Democrats?
Chris, I think that this is a step in the right direction. I know the Democrats have worked very hard with Senator Susan Collins, our approach lead, to figure this next step out. So this, we would extend the government staying open until sometime end of January, and then we would add this minibus. And I think most importantly, that would include some SNAP dollars, VA dollars as well. So I think it's a step in the right direction, and at least I think there are serious discussions going forward what it would look like to fund the government on a long-term basis.
Okay, so on the matter of Obamacare, there are some ideas being floated in your conference and by the president that sound a lot more like directly paying people instead of putting the subsidies through that go to the insurance companies. Even the creation, I heard from Bill Cassidy, senator from Louisiana, the idea of these health savings accounts, essentially the federal government would back. When you think about what's the next step on Obamacare, which obviously even Democrats will acknowledge is fiscally problematic, where's your head?
Right. So this is something Rick Scott, Bill Cassidy, I've been working on for years. What we want to do is stop the $150 billion every year that we're giving to insurance companies.
Right.
Let's give at least a part of that, these Biden-era Obama subsidies, let's give those to the people. Turn them into consumers again. This is about $35 billion a year. We would put it into an HSA and turn you into consumers again, so you're making
for
more
everybody?
Choices. For people that, certainly the people under 400% or less.
Of the federal poverty
level. That are on the poverty level. That's about $122,000 a family. These are, and I'm talking about the 24 million people on Obamacare right now. I'm not talking about Medicare, Medicaid, insurance you get through your, so this is the people on Obamacare. I think the challenge what to do with the people over 400%. I think there's several dials. I don't want to leave them out to dry. We need to wind that down some way. I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense the federal government's involved with a family that's making $200,000 a year helping subsidize their insurance. Let's go after the real problem. The real problem is a lack of transparency. We have legislation to fix that. The real problem is we're giving money to insurance companies rather than letting patients be consumers again.
Okay, so that would be disruptive, but you think in a way that would move the healthcare market into a more market-based, consumer-facing thing, right? But it would be expensive, wouldn't it? Or do you think you can do all of this for the same price?
For less.
Okay.
I think number one, if we start on the fraud, think about this. I think there's $25 billion of fraud. Of the 24 million people on Obamacare, 35 to 40% of them never make a claim. These are ghost people. They've been falsely enrolled by fraud. So I think we go after the fraud, the waste, and the abuse. Let's take that money, maybe set up some type of a reinsurance pool. I think at the end of the day, as we start giving money to consumers and this money grows in their own healthcare savings account, and maybe someday when they retire, we can take a portion of that and put it into the retirement account even.
All right. The president counts on you very often to hold the standard high for him in the Senate, but I understand you are not a fan of nuking the filibuster. Why do you part ways with the president on this one?
So actually, every day that this government is shut, I start leaning towards nuking the filibuster. Okay. So in my world, I wish it was enshrined in the Constitution. My biggest fear is that if we don't do it, the Dems will.
Right.
And the same 10 people we're counting on to cross the line and open the government are the same 10 people that folks are counting on to prevent the nuclear filibuster ending on the Dem side. And they all voted for it just 2 years ago. And I just think that...
So you're telling your fellow filibuster fans in the Democratic Party, help you out now, get the pressure off, get the government reopened so that you can table this discussion.
I think that's accurate. I still would like to enshrine it in the Constitution. I'd like to get them on record agreeing that it should be in the Constitution as well. But it certainly is one more bargaining point. I can't imagine President Trump out there using this as a bargaining point. Could you?
Okay, America. If you were attending this week's induction ceremony at the Kansas Cowboy Hall of Fame in Dodge City, you would know him already. But if you don't, here he is, Senator Roger Marshall. We thank you.